Howdy ho, and welcome to Cast That Movie, a podcast where two nobodies decide that we are going to pick a couple projects, a failed movie from the past, and a dream project we would love to see made, and we cast those projects. I guess we might as well get right into it. What do you say to that, Tom?
I like that idea. I've been waiting for a while to get back into
You
it.
see, I'm just assuming everybody listened to our first episode, and thus they get the concept. So there's really no reason to ramble on and belabor the point, right? Like everybody knows what this is about.
I mean, whenever I find something, I always find the first one and start going through in chronological order. But that's me because
That's
I'm
you.
logical.
Exactly. So we obviously need no introduction, but you know what? Just to humor y'all, we'll do it anyway. My name is Joe McDougal, and I am joined by the milk to my chocolate. How about that?
Your heterosexual life partner, sir.
Oh, stealing from Kevin Smith now. Um, this is Tom Van Horton on the other side. Say hello to everybody, Tom.
Hello, everybody. Tam. I can do that because that's my job.
Yes. So again, this is our second episode. So what are your thoughts on let's talk about ourselves. Let's talk shop. How do you think the first
Yes.
episode went, Tom? What are your reflections on episode 1 of Cast That Movie?
I honestly, I loved it. No, not being humble there. Listened to it quite a few times. I really enjoyed it. That said, I have some corrections on my end because I came across as an
Ooh.
asshat and gave bad information.
For shame. For shame. All right, let's
I
hear
mean,
it. Let's hear it.
Such a movie buff. I'm such a fuck up. I got called out by a listener,
Mm.
and she's absolutely right. Charlie Sheen was not in The Outsiders.
Ooh, I missed that too. So,
Yeah, only the Estevez.
ah.
And your pick for Peg Bundy,
Mm-hmm.
I had her confused.
Mm.
You were talking about Officer Debbie.
Yes.
Yes, and I was thinking of her name escapes me. I had it looked up earlier. God, I'm such a terrible person. I hope she never listens to this. Or Tom Lennon. I'll be so fucking on their bad list.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had them swapped.
Mm.
And either way, now that I know, I mean, I still like that, but Officer Debbie was a much better pick. So I still like both of them. Actually, as Peg,
Mm-hmm.
I have to make those corrections because I wouldn't be an honest non-hypocrite if I didn't.
Well, I would just have to say that I think I was pretty much perfect. I think I batted 1,000, so I got no corrections to make. No, I actually I had an opportunity to correct your Peg Bundy mistake there because you mentioned that she was in the state. Now,
Yes.
I'll be honest with you, I never got into the state, so yeah, I know. Shame on me.
Mm.
But yeah, I wasn't aware that she was or that either of them were on the state. So I agreed with you like a dumbass and said, yeah, totally from the state. That's the one. Um, so yeah, so none of us are perfect, Tom. It's okay. It was our first episode. I think we did okay for I think it was a win. It was a win,
It was a win. It was absolutely a win because that's what we are. We're winners.
but it could have been way better.
Anything can be way better. I mean,
All of
except
it, really.
except Charlie Sheen. I mean,
No.
he's got Adonis blood. Remember?
Yeah, okay. Um, so let's quickly talk here, introduce the audience for this episode to the projects that we are going to be casting this episode. We're going to be this episode. We're going to be doing 1997's Batman and Robin will be our recasting project. This is going to be interesting, I think.
There was a lot.
Very interesting, I think. So that'll be fun. The Contemporary Dream Project. This go round. Last week, if you remember, we did Married with Children, the movie.
Yep.
So that was kind of something that's been filmed. You know, it wasn't really that big of a stretch to
No.
because of the trend of making TV shows into movies now. But this has not been made into any sort of
Which shocks me.
Yeah.
I just have to interrupt you and say this fucking shocks me.
Well, since it shocks you so much, I'm going to let you introduce what that project is.
So the contemporary dream project for this one is something called the Montreal Screwjob. And I'm going to give a little bit of an explanation on this, but there was a time when people didn't know that pro wrestling was fake. Okay. And when I say fake, because that's an F word in the pro wrestling world, by the way, it's predetermined, right? They're still jumping off, they're doing things, but it's why you can't, I mean, we talked about for years, it's why you can't bet Vegas odds on pro wrestling,
right?
Because it's predetermined.
There's a certain amount of choreography to it.
Correct. And what occurred in this particular instance was one of the first times that what they called in the business kayfabe, which is where you present it as real, was taken down and was thrown in the audiences that it is not real, that it is predetermined. So yes, we'll get into that.
Yeah, we'll get into the meat of all that once we get to that portion of the podcast here, and you will give a very detailed rundown of what the story is there, and it's a doozy.
It is a doozy. It's fascinating. The non-wrestling fans, you should be absolutely like, what is this?
Yeah, it is. And I think, and both of us agree, it would make for a fantastic movie. And it's just up to each of us to put together our dream cast and the visionary director that could make it happen and capitalize on all the potential there. So that'll be fun. I'm looking forward to that big time.
Me too. Me too. That's been the big highlight. Batman and Robin, never a highlight.
Yeah. It's a known entity. We'll just leave it at that. Like, most people have seen it, whether they wanted to or not. So we'll just leave it at that. But it's always fun to pick a Batman. That's always just for, for geeks. It's always like, who'd make a good Batman?
Right.
And so we get to play that game today. So that'll be fun. I think we should get to our first ad break because we got to pay the bills somehow here. And then
agreed. I need my money.
Yeah, we need our money. And then we'll come back and we'll start some fun and games. What do you say?
Fun and games again, folks, and I don't have pants.
All right.
Get to that ad.
All right. We will be back in 2 shakes of a... We'll be right back. Oh, Thomas.
Yes, Sir Jode McPrimrose, Duke of Whispershire.
Fancy some tea and crumpets for lunch?
We're in America. They don't have those here.
I say, dear boy, they have crossed the pond. Have you not heard that Max Burgers have added tea and crumpets to their menu at all nationwide locations?
Seriously? That's amazing.
Dare I do say it's brilliant, old chap. Dare I say it's the coup d'etat to end all coup d'etats.
Oh, dare you?
Oh, I bloody dare.
You heard it here, folks. Max Burgers have added authentic British tea and crumpets to all their locations for a limited time. So you better stop at Max Burgers today and get them while you can. Max Burgers, flavor to the max.
Don't give me your reasons to stay. I won't be listening, babe. Either way.
Alrighty, welcome back to Cast That Movie. And we are off.
Sorry, hang on. I got to put my Max Burger bag down. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, we're in the burger game now, Tom. How about that?
I haven't been in the burger game since I was 16.
Well, that's what happens when you get tens of listeners to your pilot episode.
Hey, that's an achievement, bro.
It is.
We earned that burger money.
Yes, we absolutely. We're swimming in burger money. Yeah, I know.
All 96 cents a burger of it.
Hey, burgers are cheap, just like us. Let's say that we go to some casting news, Tom. Casting news.
Yes, I got some casting news, but let's start with you. I want to start with you.
Sure. I have item one. Timothy Chalamet. Are you familiar with Timothy
Yeah,
Chalamet?
I am.
Okay.
I am familiar with the Timothy Chalamet.
Best known is, I think his breakout was "Call Me by Your Name," I believe it was called. He was also in Little Women, that was just
Little
released.
Women.
He has been cast as a young Robert Zimmerman in James Mangold's biopic, and Robert Zimmerman is better known as who, Tom?
That'd be the Bobby Dylan.
Bobby Dylan, that's right. I can see this. I can see this. What are your thoughts on this?
I can completely see this, and I had to relook him up because I was like, oh God, really? And then I saw him, and I was like, nailed it. Like this is really good casting, and
He's got the
I don't
look.
know if you saw what was it called? I'm Not Really Here. Is that what
Yeah,
it was called?
something like I'm not there. I'm not here.
I'm not there.
there.
Yeah,
I'm neither here nor there. Yeah.
yeah, I'm everywhere.
Yeah.
I was really disappointed with that,
Mhm.
and because I wanted to come on, man. This is our stomping grounds,
Mhm.
right? I mean, Bob Dylan. If you don't love Bob Dylan or Prince, you shouldn't be where we are.
Right.
And I really like this pick. I think he's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, I agree. He's a talented actor, a talented young actor. What I've seen him in, he holds the screen. And
Mhm.
it's not an easy role. Bob Dylan is a bit of a mystery, and I think that's why they struggled so hard with "I'm Not Here Nor There" or whatever. We still don't know what it was called, and we're too lazy to look it up because it wasn't worth it.
No, it really wasn't.
No,
And that's sad.
they had such talent. They had such talent in that. They had Christian Bale, I believe,
Christian
Kate
Bale,
Blanchett.
I was gonna say Kate Blanchett. There was one other that was really big in that. And I looked it up this morning. I was getting ready for the podcast because I wanted to bring this up, but the problem, and what I'm going to be interested to see is what young Bob Dylan they go with,
Mm-hmm.
because there's so many stories and so much that's mythic.
Mm-hmm.
You have people that tell stories that this is what happened and this is what happened and this is what happened and this is what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those instances where I'm really curious to see whose side of Bob Dylan or what lens of Bob Dylan they're going to go under.
So many mythos.
Oh, this guy. Did you a couple of years ago? I'm old, so this may have been like a lot of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
He did a really interesting interview in Rolling Stone. Did you ever read that one where a guy died by the same name?
No.
And he believes that this guy took over his body and that's who he is. That this other Robert Zimmerman who died came into his body because they shared the same name. I'm not fucking you. This is a real thing he gave to Rolling Stone. Like, this guy's just unbelievably hard to piece together. Yeah.
That's something.
That's something that happened.
Okay. So we're both we're both definitely optimistic on this pick and curious to see how it pans out.
Yes.
Do you want to do? You had said you had an item. Shall we go to your item?
Let's
No?
go to my
Okay.
item.
Oh,
let's go to my item.
You want to save the best for last? I
Not the best for last.
respect.
Mine will go, or is going to blend into something here. So
So this one's interesting. Nicolas Cage will play himself in a meta project called The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. This sounds like it could be, to me, maybe too much. Maybe too inside baseball. Maybe too much winking at the ref or whatever the term is. I don't know. So basically, he plays himself trying to get himself cast in a Quentin Tarantino movie, and of course, it's Nick Cage craziness, and I don't know. It's getting to be too much. It's too self-aware. But I'll watch it. I'll watch it. I have to see what this is, but I'm not going to. I'm going in very skeptical.
this has got to be like a straight to DVD thing, right? This isn't going to go to theaters.
Yeah,
right?
I mean his stuff it has been straight to streaming. I think is
Yeah.
the modern
Modern
parlance.
term of it. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Um,
Straight to streaming.
Yeah,
Yes.
but that's what I mean. Mandy was, I believe. I think Mandy did do some theater, but I think it was after it kind of caught on as a cult hit, and then they were like, "No, we want to see this in the theater. It'd be so incredible in a theater." So then they decided to, have some screenings in theaters. But yeah, all of his crazy Nick Cage crazy era Nick Cage. That's all been basically straight to streaming. He's just too in on the joke at this point.
Nick Cage was great because back in like Raising Arizona and his
Mhm.
early stuff, right? He had two modes, which was Nick Cage and Batshit.
hmm
And it was awesome because it was new. It
Mhm.
was, it was this thing. This is, you're probably gonna not believe what I'm about to say because this is squarely in the wheelhouse of Z grade shit I watch.
hmm
I loved Bruce Campbell's Meta Project. My Name is Bruce. I loved John Claude Van Johnson. Um,
hmm
I don't know if I'm going to see this.
Mm.
I think this might be too much for me. I'll probably catch clips and things like that. My expectations for this is ridiculously low.
I'd like to see
Because-
somebody else kind of do like this knowing project. I think with the best did you ever see the Pauly Shore movie where that was
Yes.
kind of meta too?
I'm not dead.
Yeah,
Or Pauly Shore's dead.
Pauly Shore is dead, yeah.
Yes.
That was just so out of left field. Like we expect this from Nick Cage. This is where we've all been headed, and it just feels like I'd rather
Yeah.
like let's do a Michael Rooker playing himself in a
Right.
meta
Or a
project.
Michael Keaton. I want to see Michael Keaton
Yeah,
playing himself.
or somebody
right?
else. I don't know. I got Nick Cage fatigue. I think is really what it comes down to. I'm fatigued.
10 years ago, I would have been all over
Mhm.
this. I would have been all, this feels too little too late.
Right. Oh.
That's what this feels like.
Okay, so we are both highly skeptical of Nick Cage playing Nick Cage, and let us now go to your item.
It should be like the role where like, yeah, Nick Cage is going to play Nick Cage. Okay. But instead we're going, he can't play Nick Cage.
It's like isn't he always playing Nick Cage? What's new?
Well, what's new here? Come on. So I'm going to talk about a movie that's out.
Oh,
And yeah, and I'm going to talk about this because this is upsetting me. And it is called The Birds of Prey or excuse me, Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn.
Mm.
Okay. It is not doing well
Mm-mm.
box office wise. And just like we talked about last week, where movies are getting DLC and changed,
hmm
they now announced they're changing the title, even though it's already released,
Yep.
to Birds of Prey Harley Quinn.
hmm
And they are blaming Margot Robbie for one of the reasons why it's not doing well.
How so?
They're just saying she doesn't have the star power. She's not drawing people in. And since this is casting, I don't buy that shit one bit. She's great.
hmm
She's absolutely great. And
She was one of the only watchable elements of Suicide Squad. I think is a fair statement.
very fair statement. Very fair statement.
In the same role, of course, that she's playing in Birds of Prey, Harley Quinn, as it's now called.
Yep. And it's now called, they changed the title of it. And what I wanted to bring up was, this isn't her fault at all.
Mm-mm.
Again, there's really good casting in here. You have Rosie Perez.
hmm
You had Ewan McGregor. I mean, and the thing is, I didn't know these people were in this movie because it was marketed so piss poorly, right?
Right.
Do you know Ewan McGregor was in that movie? I had no fucking clue.
I did not. I didn't know he had done anything since Doctor Sleep, to be honest with you.
Exactly.
I had heard he is filming a Obi-Wan Kenobi Disney Plus series.
Which is on hold.
Is it now?
It's now on hold.
Okay.
It's now on hold.
But to answer your question, no. I saw no marketing to tell me that the fantastic Ewan McGregor is involved in this project. I mean, to be fair, though, I think they were looking to play up the female talent, understandably so.
Understandably so. Absolutely. No, completely. And yes, this is in this wheelhouse. And that's also not why it's failing either.
Right.
And I'm also hearing that it's because it's R-rated. Fuck no. Deadpool,
Mm-hmm.
the Joker, these are all things that will do it. It's because the DC universe is so toxic. The
Mhm.
universe itself. You've put out a bunch of crap that nobody cares anymore. As you said last week, they should reboot it, and they should have rebooted it, and I think people would have paid more attention.
Yep.
I don't blame the casting on this one at all.
No.
You know, you got to rechange the name of the fucking movie because people are going, what the fuck is this thing?
How can you blame the casting when it was the casting, her in the role of Harley Quinn from Suicide Squad, that they determined to be the best bet to be the immediate follow-up in a side project, a standalone, or whatever you want to call it. It's not really, because there's other characters, but they take her character specifically and they branch off into another, potential franchise, I think is what they had in mind, right?
Right. Yes. As they want this to be another franchise, it's not going to happen.
No, not at this stage.
Which is why they've changed the name of the movie, obviously.
Right.
As just kind of, and I think they're going to use this as a stepping stone for her to get away from the Joker, and that's what this is all going to be about. And we're never going to see anyone again from this movie except for Harley Quinn.
Right. Tom.
Yes.
We agreed on all three items.
We did.
Yeah, we agree on the Chalamet is a good pick for Bobby Dylan. Nick Cage is wearing us out with his Nick Cage thing. And Margot Robbie is in no way to blame for the failure of Birds of Prey, Harley Quinn. It was terribly marketed.
It was terribly marketed, and again, it's that DC universe. I think if this had been a Marvel superhero movie or something else, would have been fine.
Yeah, I mean, just to go, I mean, it's apples and oranges, but just to go to, the next big Marvel project, I believe, is going to be the Scarlett Johansson Black Widow. Is that it? Black Widow?
Yep, it's gonna be Black Widow. Yep.
Yeah, and I saw the trailer for that. It looks great. Really
phenomenal.
Good. Yeah, it looks really good. So, it's anyway, let's move on. I think we talked that segment.
Beating a dead horse.
Yes, that horse is got maggots right now. So so this is fun. We're going to go now to recast the segment where we recast a failed project from the past. And this episode of this podcast, we are recasting 1997's Batman and Robin. Tom, will you please tell our audience, or give our audience, a rundown of what went wrong with the awful Batman and Robin?
So, what went wrong with Batman and Robin? A lot of times we talk about casting and not being the problem. Casting was a problem with this movie. So it came after Batman Forever. And you had Val Kilmer, who was going to take over for Keaton, because Keaton didn't want to be in a franchise. He wanted to be free to do his Michael Keaton thing. And then the director, Joel Schumacher, could not work with Val Kilmer, which is something we should get into a whole nother time, but that's not uncommon.
Right.
He's known to be very problematic on set.
We referenced The Island of Dr. Moreau last week, and that, of course, when we were talking about Marlon Brando, also notoriously difficult. But yes, that film backs up that statement from you, that Val Kilmer, especially in the 90s, was a very tough cookie to work with.
100%. He liked to take over the directing chair when he wasn't supposed to, and Joel Schumacher talked about that in several interviews. And but what also went wrong here was that the toy companies and McDonald's, Walmart, Kmart felt that they weren't able to sell enough toys and market Batman Forever because it was too dark. So they wanted something more toyetic, is the word that they gave to Joel Schumacher, which means you can sell toys off the back of it. And he said in an interview in 2000 that this was the only time that I felt the box office was more important than the story. And Chris O'Donnell said the same thing. He said, I felt like I wasn't when I did Batman Forever, I felt like I was making a movie. The second time I felt like I was making a kid's commercial. And to the point where every time they'd yell action, Joel Schumacher would go, remember, we're making a cartoon. So he had to give that warning on every shot. Also,
Gross.
in the casting side of it, we know that there was an Arnold Schwarzenegger in the movie who cost a whopping $25 million to bring in and demanded rewrites to the character. So there had to be rewrites when he was brought into a script that was already approved, plus $25 million of the budget for the movie went to him as well. So it took that to take that away from the production and the set.
Yuck.
So there was a lot that went wrong with that fucking movie.
Yeah, it looked like a bowl of cereal. It was bright and colorful, and empty calories.
It was, I wasn't a fan of the Batman Forever. Batman and Robin was unbelievably awful.
Yeah,
I mean, I had no faith at all.
It went to a whole nother level of crap. So that being said, let us start by picking who we would want to be at the helm. Certainly, I think. Well, we're not really allowed to pick the same person anyway, but I'm gonna assume that neither of us even entertain for a second wanting Joel Schumacher to still be in charge of this.
I want to throw a new thing in the game here.
Sure.
I'm gonna throw you for a fucking loop.
Oh,
here.
I love it. Go.
Because one of the things that I didn't like about this movie was that there was too many characters. We talked about in our opening podcast.
Yes.
This is something that'll be a running theme, I think, as we get into a lot of these movies, is too many characters.
Yes.
So you can say who you want. If you had picked someone, you can say who you want, but you're going to have to cut one of the main characters out of this movie. So the choices for as we went through was Batman, Robin, Poison Ivy, Batgirl, Mr. Freeze, Bane.
Sure.
I want you to choose one of those people you would cut, and when we get to our decisions, explain why you wanted to cut that person.
So are we going to wait till the time when we were going to announce them and then say, basically put down or raise our paddle and be like veto? Or
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. You raise your thing and say, if you pick someone, right? Because I might keep someone that you didn't keep. Right. So if you want to, and you already have someone in mind as I'm telling you this, if you don't want to see who that person was, you're going to say, I cut this character. Fine, go ahead and do it.
I think I have a pretty good idea of who I would pick or who I would pick to cut. Of what, like you said, it's a very bloated movie.
Very.
It could use major editing. And again, this isn't going to be the same movie because we're going to have a whole different person running it, but just conceptually, it needed to be pared down to work in the first place. Like it was doomed from the start, and then it just you just throw more awful on top of awful, and all you get is just a whole big awful pie. So okay, that's a good rule. I like that rule. I like that rule.
Yep, it's just for this game, and we might bring it. You might pull on me in the future. You might pull it out, but it's something just to add a little bit of a caveat to the game.
Little spice.
I like spices.
I like spices.
I like it, the pepper.
All right, well then let's go to the director / visionary. Do you want to go first, or you want me to kick it off?
You could go first.
Awesome.
I'm feeling
so the person I picked would definitely have changed the tone of the movie. It would have still been very action heavy. It would have been choreographed way better, and there would have been less roller skates for sure. I am going to choose the director, John Woo.
I like that.
Best known in that the late 90s for Face Off.
Face Off.
Starring the aforementioned Nick Cage and the aforementioned from last episode, John Travolta.
That fucker, I hate him.
And he made it work so well with those two.
He did.
I could see him. It would be darker, certainly. He's not gonna, be throwing neon lights at you. I think he would keep it a little grittier, but there would be it'd feel like more of an action ballet. And that's who I would go with. I am very, very curious to hear who you would go with.
Okay. So I went a completely almost opposite direction of you.
Okay. I want to, before you get into your pick, I remember when we were talking early in the week, and I should remind listeners, again, you listen to our first episode, certainly. But we do not share our picks ahead of time. So I'm learning Tom's picks as he gives them. He is learning my picks as I give them. But sometimes we just kind of like we certainly have to discuss what the project's going to be, and we check in with each other how we're doing without giving away any critical
Yes.
spoilers. Was it this project or was it our second project today that you said your quote is, "You are going to hate my picks"?
This was this one.
Okay, all right.
You were gonna hate my picks.
Love it. Let's do it.
Yeah. So I went a completely different route. One of the things I loved about the original Michael Keaton Batman
Mm-hmm.
was it was less action and more story driven.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt that with Batman and Robin, there was no story.
Right.
So I went into overcorrection mode,
Okay.
and I picked a dude who was fucking on fire in the 90s as a visionary at storytelling and making very detailed, almost Tarantino-esque dialogue and story-driven elements in his.
You know what? As you were describing it, I was expecting you were going to pick Tarantino. I thought that's where you were going with this, but I can expect now that that's not your pick since you
It's
referenced
not
him
my
as
pick, not in the
Tarantino-esque.
90s. Yes. And I think Tarantino stole a lot from this guy, Oliver Stone.
Ooh.
I would take this is an Oliver Stone Batman movie.
That's a
dude.
thing that makes
In
me
the
go,
90s.
right there.
Mhm.
I'm
In
looking.
the 90s.
I'm looking forward to our discussion after the fact when we kind of break down and debate these picks, because that's a pick for me right there.
Yep, I'm sure it is. And then when you see my cast, though, you're going to see where I'm going. with
Well,
it.
speaking of that, who is Oliver Stone putting in the cape and cowl?
Tim Roth.
Ooh.
Again, I'm going story driven.
Hmm.
He's going to be. This is more Bruce Wayne, less Batman. More about the Bruce Wayne, what's going on, the storytelling. As we talked about before, it doesn't really matter who's in the cowl. I want to have someone who was in there. And in the 90s, Tim Roth was also on fire, in my opinion, in his roles as a dramatic actor.
In the Tarantino verse. Okay, that's gonna be a fun talk later.
I told you you're gonna fucking hate me.
Okay. There's no way you can hate my pick for Batman because he's one of the greatest actors ever. He can do anything. He's done pretty much anything. Being Batman would be like learning, like you and I learning how to jump rope. Daniel Day-Lewis.
Oh, fuck yes. Yes, Daniel Day-Lewis, dude, that guy can do. Has he ever done a bad movie?
I don't know. I haven't
Has
seen.
he ever had a bad role?
I haven't seen all his films. Just to be fair, all his films. Just to be fair, I haven't. But I don't think there's any that have been like, wow, what an embarrassing role for Daniel Day-Lewis.
And
he
he's
picks his spots.
He picks his spots, and he's also methodical, right? Like he'll go 7 years without making a movie because he's so picky.
Yeah, I mean
I like that.
He's supposedly retired now, but I think that's just he'll be back. He's just too good. Somebody will lure him back with something he can't say no to. But yeah, that is my pick for Batman / Bruce Wayne because I think he could do both.
With your Daniel Day-Lewis, who's your Robin then? Because he's gonna. I mean, just like you worried about my Ralph Macchio, I'm worried about anyone you're gonna put with Daniel Day-Lewis.
My Robin is Ralph Macchio.
No. Did you really?
No, of course not.
I was like,
God.
you fucker. You tore apart my Macchio.
No. Nope. Not no.
You had me excited for a second.
No, you did. No. My Robin is somebody who was in that year. In that year, he actually had his breakthrough movie that shot him to the top of the A list. Before that, though, was a little bit lesser known of an entity. One and only Leonardo DiCaprio.
That's Robin?
Yeah.
Ooh, we're going to have to discuss that.
Skinny old Leo with his floppy hair to Daniel Day-Lewis's Bruce Wayne / Batman. Yep, that's my direction. Now you tell me who be your Robin.
My Robin is someone who was kind of breaking out in the 90s, had done TV, and started getting in the films, and who later became a very hated Joker. Jared Leto.
Ooh. Ooh.
A young 1990s Jared Leto.
Now, this would have been after My So-Called Life.
This would have been after My So-Called Life.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's interesting. That's an interesting pick.
I just kind of looked at the physique of him and what he looked like, and I'm like, I could see him being Robin.
Both our picks have very boyish qualities. I mean, they could.
Very.
I think both would have been, I believe, in their 20s by then, but could have easily played a ward that was believably younger than that. All right, well, we'll debate and defend those choices later. Let's move on. Let's start with the villains here. Let's do Poison Ivy next.
Okay. You want me to go first?
Sure. Why don't you do that?
All right, I'll go that. So I want to preface this by saying I like Uma Thurman, but I didn't like her. I love her. Going back to Tarantino and Kill Bill. Holy fuck, she's amazing. She is not Poison Ivy, in my opinion. I think in the 90s, there was another woman that could have played that sensual role a little less harsh and been more seductive in that role and would have killed it, and that is one beautiful Elizabeth Hurley.
Okay. Okay.
She was big in the 90s. She was big in the 90s.
She was, yes. I guess she never even crossed my mind. So I'm digesting that idea in real time here. My pick is I have to first off disagree with you. I thought Uma Thurman was a good choice. I just didn't think they wrote the role well. I think if given the right direction, she could have done well. However, I can't choose her because she is the one who played the role in the original. So that being said, I kind of, I don't know. I wanted to go with the redhead. I don't know. I picture her in redheaded. You know, people that dye their hair red, it's like you can always tell, and it just right.
Yes.
In a good example being Uma Thurman as Poison Ivy.
Uma Thurman, yeah, you can tell that was totally fake.
So I'm going with Julianne Moore.
Ooh, I do like me Julianne Moore, and I can see her doing that.
She's super talented. I think she could play all the qualities you listed out for Elizabeth Hurley. She could pull off, but she's got, in my opinion, better acting chops. And since I'm putting together kind of a prestige cast here, I wanted somebody that you could put in that category, and I see her as fitting the mold that we're starting with on my John Woo project.
Fair enough, and that's I do kind of put those two on a very similar level, even though one went on to fucking do Austin Powers. Elizabeth Hurley was known for serious roles for a little while until she got caught up in that rom-com comedy fucking trap.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, who do you want to do next? I'll let you choose.
Well, I'll do Bane next.
Sure.
And I'll be honest, I'm cutting Bane.
Okay.
I am cutting Bane from this. Bane is a whole storyline in and of itself. That's why we talked about this with the Batman, The Dark Knight Rises. I did not like how they portrayed Bane. I didn't really care for that one, although I love Nolan. But if
and Tom Hardy, Tom Hardy is great,
Hardy,
but I agree. It just didn't.
No. Once again, Bane should be its own Batman movie all by itself. You don't need other characters in it.
Sure.
But I'm going to just say who I would have casted, and that would have been Bolo Yeung, better known as Chung Lee from Bloodsport, the main villain in Bloodsport. If you remember that, that's pretty much the only thing he was ever known for. That, and he was later in Kung Fu Hustle.
Okay.
Yep. But I'm cutting Bane from the movie.
Yeah, so it's all moot.
You don't have.
It's all moot.
It's all moot.
Okay. I did not cut Bane. I'm keeping Bane. Okay. And I'm actually bringing Bane back to his roots. And the original Bane in the comics is Latino.
Correct.
Though he is seemingly never cast as Latino in film, or he was recently in, we referenced the show last week, the Gotham TV series. They had a Bane played by a very, 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 very white actor. Benicio del Toro.
Yes.
Post Usual Suspects.
Mm-hmm.
I believe
Nailed it.
Pre-Traffic. Um,
Pre-Traffic, I think that was right around Fear and Loathing.
yes, I think maybe a year after, but yes, kind of when he was
Yeah.
just breaking out into, again, Prestige. I'm going Prestige
Yep.
here.
Yep.
He
Yep.
fits that bill, and he's also culturally correct
Yep.
playing Bane. So that would be my Bane.
That would be your Bane. I like that Bane. If you're going to keep Bane, that's probably the best choice, to be honest with you. All right. Okay, so let's go to Mr.
Yeah,
Freeze.
let's do Mr. Freeze. I'm really curious to see where you go here because I know you're not cutting him, and I
Nope.
am not cutting him either. So that answers the question on who
Ooh,
I'm cutting.
who you're cutting.
hmm
Okay.
My choice for Mr. Freeze. Now remember, in the Mr. Freeze is not a bodybuilder by nature.
Nope.
Freeze is a cryogenist,
Mm-hmm.
and he
Smart
yes,
scientist.
very smart scientist, and he it was portrayed in Batman the Animated Series is where he really broke out as a Bat villain.
Yep.
Before then, he was more of an obscure Bat villain, but going off the mold of that portrayal of Mister Freeze, I chose an actor that kind of would be similar in look and stature to that Mister Freeze from the animated series, and that is James Cromwell.
Ooh. Okay. Yep. I know who that is.
Okay, best known probably for Babe, right? Um,
Yep.
and a million other projects. It's just you pick a project and you got about a 50-50 chance that he was in it since 1993. Yeah, he's got the gravitas. I could believe him. He's played scientists. I believe
Yep.
in iRobot. He was a scientist, but he's got a strong presence, and you need that too for a villain. James Cromwell is my Mister Freeze.
So as we talked about, we don't give away our picks to
Right,
each other.
correct.
And I have a group of friends. We have a similar group of friends that I will ask some of these questions to without knowing. I'll throw movies at them.
hmm
I'll throw several movies at them and usually throw in one of the movies we're going to do that week. And I had asked about Mr. Freeze, and one of my friends came back with an answer, and I'm just going to tell you what that was because I really liked it. I didn't pick it because I'm not going to change what I wanted here,
hmm
but he actually brought up Christopher Lee could have played that role, and I thought, okay, that's an interesting cast,
Yeah.
and I could see. But I think you're really going to like mine.
Okay.
Sexy Beast himself, Sir
Ben Kingsley.
Kingsley.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
do like your pick.
Based off of the comic, based off of the cartoon, he fits the bill,
hmm
and he can play a really smart and then go into just villainous.
Yeah,
So I picked Ben Kingsley.
I like that too. I like that. Oof. Okay. Let's finish it off here now. I've already basically, without saying it, said that I'm cutting
Yep.
Batgirl. Um, yeah, and maybe that was the wrong choice. I don't know. As the more I think about it, having the three villains, but then you get three heroes. I guess it's half of one or six of one, half a dozen of the other. It's like you got one too many on either.
One too many on either.
Um,
Yep.
and I just think, these are three new villains. You don't have time to introduce a new hero. I'd rather go with the established duo of Batman and Robin, and I'd say do Batgirl in a different setting.
Okay.
So who did you pick for your Batgirl?
I picked someone who never went to film.
Ooh,
And I didn't like Alicia Silverstone. I thought that was a box office
yes,
grab. Like, okay, we got Alicia Silverstone. We got Arnold Schwarzenegger, right?
she's still riding
Um,
the clueless high. Yeah.
hmm I wanted to pick an actress that I think deserved to make it to movies. And I really want to pick someone who I felt could portray a badass Batgirl.
hmm
And I don't know if you ever know who this is, Amy Jo Johnson. Does that name ring a bell at all?
No, I can't put a face with the name. I'd need more cues.
Okay. She was only known for playing the Pink Ranger in the original Power Ranger show.
Whoa.
Amy Jo Johnson, Kimberly the Pink Ranger, who's going to be
Huh.
Batgirl. And I will preface this by saying I would have cut her way back.
Hmm.
I would have only used her again because this is more of my version of it. It's far more dialogue heavy, things like that.
Mhm.
I would have used her more like she shows up, she's an enigma, you don't know anything about her, and would have used that for the next movie
Hmm.
and started to portray her more.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well then, yeah, let's talk about our picks
Yeah,
here.
let's debate. Let's debate. 'Cause I'm
Yeah.
sure there's a lot to debate about.
So for director, we got me picking John Woo,
Yep.
and you are picking. Oh God, remind me again.
Oliver Stone.
Oliver Stone. How do I forget? Oliver
Yeah.
Stone. Ugh. It's an action movie. I don't. I can't. It's nowhere near Oliver Stone's wheelhouse. I don't think he'd ever do it. I think he'd be.
I don't think
I think.
I don't think he would, but if I could get him, again, this is my dream project, right? I
Sure.
would get him in the 90s.
I mean, you can never say never because Quentin Tarantino wanted to do a Star Trek movie. So I mean,
right.
there's always that weird possibility, but it would be so. Oliver Stone is challenging, right? His movies are challenging. Um, I think mine marries, the commercial potential, but also the artistic integrity.
Sure.
That you kind of, I think Oliver Stone would be unrealistic.
I'm not doubting the fact that Oliver Stone would be unrealistic. However, he has done some kind of action movies as well.
Action adjacent, we'll put it that way.
Action adjacent. And again, I felt that the Tim Burton version was more action adjacent. I mean, Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson are not action stars,
Sure.
and yet that fucking worked. So I kind of felt like, let's get back to that kind of hodgepodge of making it more of, again, you can always have this, you talked about this, you can always have the stunt doubles fight and do things. I just felt like the movie was, I guess I overcorrected. I felt the movie was so devoid of a story
Sure.
that that Oliver Stone would make it nothing but story.
Right.
So, but John Woo, fuck, man. I mean, yes, if you're going to do an action Batman and Batman and Robin in the 90s, John Woo, you can't go wrong. So I guess in this one, you win on that sense.
All right.
You win on that one.
I accept the victory. Sorry, that was super arrogant.
I picked fucking the guy that did JFK to make a Batman movie. You're allowed to be a little arrogant on that.
All right, let's rock and roll on to our Batman. I had Daniel Day-Lewis, and you had Tim Roth.
And the reason why I picked Tim Roth, now I knew I was going to have to defend all these. Tim Roth can be a real smarmy fuck.
Yes.
And I feel like that's Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne is kind of that arrogant, like he has to put on, one of the things that I feel like that's really lost in the movies is the fact that fucking Bruce Wayne is supposed to be this billionaire prick. And yes, he's altruistic in a sense like that, but all you really get from him is, he's kind of a womanizer. He kind of, he goes out with these girls, buys a hotel, does little things, goes out with Vicky Vale. But that's really it. You don't get across the smarmy, like, this is why no one thinks Batman is Bruce Wayne because of the way Bruce Wayne is. And I think Tim Roth is I really like that pick because, God damn it, does he have some bite when he's being a prick.
Okay. I think I pretty much laid out why I feel Daniel Day-Lewis would be an ideal pick. I mean, Tim Roth is, it's following your pattern on going, I'd say, far outside the box.
Absolutely. You're always going to get more outside the box than me on my dream project. My favorite director is David Lynch, you fuck.
I know, yeah. I can't.
But I'm gonna challenge you like you challenged me on Oliver Stone here.
Sure.
Daniel Day-Lewis is never gonna fucking touch Batman.
No, that's fair. That's totally fair. He wouldn't. That's a very fair point. So, I think I'm still sticking with him though over Tim Roth. I see where you're trying to go with the Playboy thing, but he does not have the Playboy looks. He's too distinguishable. he's like, that's fucking Tim Roth underneath the cape and the cowl. He doesn't have the chiseled jaw. I don't know.
The Keaton?
Yeah, he doesn't have the Keaton, the Bale, even the Clooney. I mean,
The Clooney, you knew that was
Yeah,
Clooney in the
yeah,
suit.
no.
Don't even give me that. You knew that was Clooney.
I did, but yeah, I can't. I think
I don't think he was distinguishable in the 90s, though. I think he is now. I
Yeah.
don't think he was then.
I think it's fair to say we're probably sticking by our own guns on this.
Sure.
Okay.
I would agree with that one. Okay, Robin.
Yeah, Leo DiCaprio versus your pick,
Jared Leto.
Jared Leto. I kind of like your pick better, I think. I do.
He more looks like Leonardo DiCaprio has always been too pretty
Yeah.
to be. And again, all you're going to do is throw a mask on him. You're going to know that that's Leonardo. Jared Leto, you're not really going to know. He looks like an average guy.
No, he's pretty pretty. He's
pretty.
He's pretty pretty.
He's pretty, but not DiCaprio pretty.
Yeah. That's fine.
I mean, that's like throwing fucking Johnny Depp, 90s Johnny Depp in as
I
Robin.
considered him as Batman, honestly. He was on my
I
short
did
list.
too.
Yeah.
I did
And he
too.
was
I did
actually
too.
considered in that role as well. I think
Yep.
I want to say when Batman Forever was being cast, but
Was Batman Forever being cast, Johnny Depp's name was thrown around, but Joel Schumacher didn't feel that he could do it.
okay, let's move on. So
Crazy.
I'm giving you Robin. Let's go
Yep.
to Poison Ivy. I had Julianne Moore. You had Elizabeth Hurley.
Yep.
Um,
I'm going to call that a draw. I
Okay.
mean, they're both unless you really feel strongly one or the other. I do like Julianne Moore. I just think she's too wholesome to be Poison Ivy. And Elizabeth Hurley was in that Be Deviled movie or with
Yeah.
fucking Brendan Fraser.
Sure.
And she can play, that's basically Poison Ivy when you look at that role, that devil, that using my sexuality to seduce people and
Sure.
get what I want.
So yeah.
And that's Poison Ivy.
Yeah, I will concede that we can call that one a draw. So you did not pick Bane.
I did not pick Bane, and I liked your Bane. Your Bane, if I was going to keep Bane, there's no question that was the better Bane.
All right, so we will just move right on then to Mr. Freeze. I had James Cromwell. You had Sir Ben Kingsley. Very similar. We were kind of fishing from the same pond, I think, in what we were looking for, which is pretty cool.
You're right.
Pretty cool.
Right, considering how outside the box I can get.
Yeah. God, it's hard for me to ever say no to Ben Kingsley.
I knew that when I picked him.
Yeah,
I'm like, there's no way they know.
You got the bigger, blacker dick card when you pick Ben Kingsley.
Ooh, Cards Against Humanity. reference. I love it.
Yeah. We should clarify that didn't just I mean, there's context to that. We don't need to be canceled on our second episode.
No.
Yeah, I would say I'm gonna give that one to you. It's Ben Kingsley. I can't not.
Yeah, I knew when I pulled that card. I'm like, he's no matter who he picks. I actually expected us to land on him together. Honestly, I was like, this is a possibility we both.
Yeah, and again, we were not far apart. I think again we were in the same realm. We just found different ports, and I like your port better. It's where the cool kids are.
I know where the best horrors in the ports are, buddy. And then you cut Batgirl,
Yes.
which I totally understand why you did. I did not, because I felt, again, in my universe, I would have used her more sparingly.
Mhm.
What did you think? I mean, you weren't a Power Rangers fan.
I mean, I watched the Power Rangers. Yeah. I don't remember ever her standing out. I don't remember. None of them did. Like, they weren't really good actors by any stretch. Any of them. That's
Sure.
not why anybody watched the Power Rangers.
No.
I don't know. I get you win, I guess, by default.
I win by default. Did you hear that, Kimberly? You win by default.
So
That's
you have
sticking out
that.
for you.
All right. So that concludes Batman and Robin. I think that was a fun discussion.
It was.
Let us.
You were kind of contentious on some of my picks in that one,
Yeah,
sir.
it's Batman movie. There's a lot of skin in that game.
There is a lot of skin in that.
And I can tell we both really tried to
Yes.
to create an overall, tableau of what we wanted this movie to be. And I would watch either. I mean, if I were to be honest.
I would too.
Yeah.
I would too. Yeah, there's no question about it. I'd watch your action one, and again, I would totally watch mine as a fucking drama,
As a fucking JFK movie. Yeah.
as a JFK movie. Yeah.
Okay, let's take another break then, and then we will come back and play some. We got another game lined up there, Tom.
We love games.
We love games.
I have no pants. Let's go to the ad.
Be back in a second.
I'm no sailor, you're no silver dove. So are we to try and navigate the rocky seas of a storm?
Yo, Jode,
Yes, Tom.
you've been hearing about certain burger joints going all foo-foo with their menu?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, yes, I have.
Well, not the Burger Boss. Well, some places trying to feed you plant burgers and British burgers. Burger Boss is going hard in the other direction by proudly offering the Mega Deluxe Quadruple Bacon Boss Burger.
That sounds like a lot of burger.
Damn right, you pansy. Check it out. 4 fresh patties, 5 slices of American cheese, 6 strips of bacon, ketchup, mustard, ranch, mayo, barbecue, and more barbecue, all in a seedless, greasy bun.
Good Lord.
At Burger Boss, there's no such thing as too much burger. Get your Mega Deluxe Quadruple Bacon Boss Burger today, if you're man enough.
Between the winter's misfortune, the death of a friend, find no love in a worried mind. Close to the end.
Welcome back to Cast That Movie, and we are just chugging along, aren't we, Tom?
Sorry, I was eating the Boss Burger.
Oh my God!
Yes.
Who would have ever
Yes.
thought that on our second episode we'd be in the middle of the Burger Wars, Tom?
How did we get 2 different burger places to pay for us? How did you pull that off, dude?
You know, it's they're not real for one. No,
Oh shit! I'm not getting paid for
I
this.
got nothing.
You got nothing.
I want to play another game.
I like games, and I have my pants off. What you got for me, bud?
I want to play another game. I want to play. We played it last episode as well. I want to play. Is this Where Are They Now?
We can totally. I love that game. That was so much fun.
Let's again. They don't need a reminder. They heard the whole spiel last time, but we'll just
Yep.
do it again. Concept of the game: Tom and I each pick a former star who is no longer in the limelight, and we basically give a rundown of what their life had entailed to the point of where they are in modern times. There's a way better way to explain it, but that's what I'm going with. So basically, we give our story, and the other person has to determine, is this true or is this BS? So that being said, I'm going to leave it up to you. Would you like to start, or would you like me to do the?
I'm always the polite guy. I'll let you start, sir.
Okay, I will accept. So I was determined. First off, I digress. Last episode, we both picked child stars, and we both correctly guessed that we were telling true stories, right?
Correct.
This time around, I was really going into this before I kind of looked at my options and settled somebody. I was determined not to do a child star, but I found one
No,
so
you did.
good.
All right.
I had to because
All
I
right.
know for a fact you're gonna know who this is. I know it, and it's okay. Before I sell it any further, last time we both told true stories, as I mentioned. So kind of the game here is like, are we gonna I would say it's natural that we would both be expecting, okay, the other person's gonna make up a story this time, right?
Sure. Yep.
But then you think, oh, or are they gonna think that that's what I'm gonna do, so I'm not? But are they gonna think that's what I'm gonna do, that's what I'm gonna do. So I am. You know what I mean? So you kind of
Yeah,
get
it's like a two version of rock paper scissors,
Right.
but there's a lot of calculations involved.
and
Yes.
another calculation is have the person I'm gonna name. Do you know them? Like in your case last week, you picked Jake Lloyd. I happen to know. I
No, yes.
I caught
You
wind
knew.
somewhere along the my life here that
Mhm.
unfortunately his was a tragic story, and you laid
Yes.
it out in all its tragedy.
It was a tragic story. Yes.
This story is not a tragic story,
Okay.
as was not my last story that was true about
Sure.
Mike TV from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Mhm.
This story is about an actor. His name is Danny Cooksey.
Okay. I'm not familiar with the name so
Oh,
far.
you will be. Danny Cooksey got his start in the latter seasons of Different Strokes. He
Oh shit.
was the little guy that they brought in
Yep.
towards the end. Uh,
Mhm.
Kind of, I think the best comparison to be like, kind of like Oscar or no Oliver in the Brady Bunch.
Oliver, which was a Leonardo DiCaprio, was that not?
No, you're thinking of Growing Pains.
I'm thinking of Growing Pains.
Oliver in the Brady Bunch.
Brady
when all
Bunch.
the kids got too old, they're like, "Oh, we need to mop it."
Mhm.
So they got Oliver,
Yep.
who looked like a little John Denver, and was
Mhm.
credited with people hated Oliver and credited with ruining
He
the
was
show.
scrappy. He was scrappy.
Right, Danny Cooksey's Sam McKinney. I don't think there was such hostility met when he joined, but he's best known for those of us that grew up in Nickelodeon's heyday as playing Bobby Budnick, the bad boy, on Salute
Bad
Your
Boy.
Shorts.
On Salute Your Shorts. That's the same guy.
He's the same guy, and he is also known
Oh.
for playing John Connor's best friend Tim on T2
In-
Judgment Day.
Yes! I was so happy when I saw him in that movie.
And he is also known for having the most divine ginger mullet you have ever
Oh,
seen.
Ever. That thing was
That
glorious.
mullet.
If anything's going to bring back the mullet, it's got to be memes of him.
Yes, that mullet.
Yes.
That mullet. Anyway, so I'm going to tell you Danny Cooksey's story, and you tell me if I'm telling you the truth or if I'm just making shit up, okay?
All right, let's hear
Okay,
it.
so Danny Cooksey, shortly after T2 Judgment Day, quit acting to pursue metal music, the metal music scene. He was the lead singer of a band, Mach Ado, which is spelled M-A-C-H, Mach, as in Mach
Yep.
Turbo.
Mock Turbo.
Ado, I think it's a play on Much Ado,
Okay.
based out of Oakland. And as the years went on, he fell into drugs and battled addiction, which is common for people in the music scene in the late 90s. Until you guessed it, found Jesus in the mid-aughts. And then shortly after started a Christian rock band called Savior's Calling in 2007. He performed on Huckabee, Mike Huckabee's Fox News show in 2012 with Mike Huckabee on bass.
Bass.
Yep. And finally, bringing us to where he's at today, started his own label with friends called Extreme. Now, this is spelled all caps XSTREEM in 2014. And that brings us to where Danny Cooksey is now. Tom, am I telling
Yeah.
you the truth? Or am I not telling you the truth about Danny Cooksey?
Oh Christ, this is weird. This is very similar to mine. And I gonna have to go. God, that sounds true. I'm gonna say true.
Incorrect.
No, you made that
I
up. you
made
fuckface.
that up.
You fuck face. All right, what's Danny Cooksey fucking up to?
There's the only element of truth is that he did dabble in music and continued
I
to
was gonna
throughout the
say,
years.
Yep.
It was metal, but he's
The music threw me off because I did know he did that.
he stayed in the industry. He's still in it to this day. He's done a lot of like voice work, minor roles, just kind of working to get by, paying the bills kind of thing. I didn't see anything about any drug or addiction issues, anything like that. Like it seems like he's lived a relatively normal life, which
Good for him.
So yeah, nothing spectacular there. Yeah, so most of that, pretty much all of it, I mean, even the part that was true was highly, highly, highly exaggerated. No, he did
You
not
broke
find
out
Jesus as far as I
in a
know.
lie. In a lie. I want to point something out here. In a lie, you brought up Mike Huckabee playing the bass, you fuckface.
I was gonna say he played at a Rick Santorum meeting or Rick Santorum
Nah,
rally in 2012. Uh,
that would have no, I would have called bullshit on
yes, but
that.
I thought, but Huckabee was known for bringing
Huckabee
bands on and playing with them.
and Christian bands and playing with
Yes,
them.
and I thought
Yes.
that's the way to sell it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you guessed wrong.
I guessed wrong. Very good sell,
Thank
sir.
you.
All right.
I tried hard. I mean, I really I exercise all creativity.
You
Uh,
did. That was a very convincing lie, sir.
Speaking of which,
Uh,
we need to start a band called Mockadoo.
we do need to start a band called Mockadoo. Let's get on
All
that.
right, let me hear your story, Paul. Or
hmm.
Tom. Oh man.
It's all good. The pseudonym is a pseudonym, and they know it's a pseudonym. We got called out on that the last one, so fuck them. You're still calling me Tom,
Yeah.
but
Go ahead, Tom. Go ahead, Tom.
Paul's a prick. So I was bound and determined not to find a childhood actor as
Mm.
well. I semi-failed.
Yeah.
I dug a little deep, but I wanted to make it someone that you would know who this person is.
Okay.
I don't know if you're going to know him by name. Michael Schofling.
I do not know who that is.
Well, you're going to know because he was the man in the 80s, dude.
Mm.
He played such characters as Jake Ryan in 16 Candles
Ooh.
and Kush in Vision Quest.
Okay. Yes. Face with a name now. Yes, I know who this
Yes.
is. I know who this is.
Mm-hmm. Well, the reason why you don't know anything about him was he retired from acting in 1994
Hmm.
due to his conversion to the Mormon religion. He had married a few years earlier into the religion, and it was decided at that time they had money, and it was going to move the family to where her family lived in South Jordan, Utah, which is a suburb of Salt Lake City.
Hmm.
Well, when they moved there, he was deciding what they were going to do, and they were living off the money from the movies for a little while. Well, he was quickly promoted through the ranks of his PTA because they had some kids. And this caught the eye of one Neil Newhouse. Now, you probably don't know that name, but you might know the company Public Opinion Strategies, who was a firm that was hired by Mitt Romney for his gubernatorial bid.
Hmm.
Well, they went to the same school, and through the ranks of the PTA, Newhouse decided that he was going to use that fame and work with Jake Ryan. While Jake Ryan never rose to a mainstream high-profile political fame, he is now a Republican city council member, thanks to Newhouse's push with the very firm that he used to push Romney, and is a well-known supporter for Romney's policies on the local level.
Hmm.
Am I telling you the truth, or am I bullshitting you?
First off, I will tell you I don't know the answer this time. I am aware. I didn't know the name offhand, but I am aware that Jake Ryan kind of vanished from acting. I think I've seen him on. Excuse me. I think I've seen him on like a "Where Are They Now" kind of thing. Not like where I've like read into it, but like famous faces that have disappeared, clickbait type
That
stuff.
disappeared. Yeah, from acting. From
I
acting.
never
Yep.
looked into it though, so I don't know. So he went Mormon. Was he? Does it say was he born into Mormonism or he chose to?
No, he married. No, he married into
Yes,
it.
you did say that.
He married into it. Yep, he married into it.
Married into it and bought in whole cloth, huh? Oh, ooh, that's a tough one. It's a good story if you made it up. And I'm gonna say you did. I'm gonna call bullshit.
You are correct. I made all that up.
What is Michael really up to these days?
He did retire. That's the only thing that's true. He retired in 1991. And the reason he retired was he wasn't getting the roles like he was used to because his looks were fading. That and he had a family and he needed to figure out a more stable way to support them. He's retired and is now owns a woodworking shop where he makes handcrafted furniture in New York.
Wow,
Yep.
just like Jesus.
just like Jesus.
Good for him. That sounds like a very fulfilling life that he's got going on. I will give you points. That was an excellent story, and honestly, I struggled because parts of it did sound just like you couldn't make it up. Like it's I struggled.
I went hard
Yeah.
on this lie, dude. I looked up suburbs of South Jordan. I looked up pollsters and people that worked for Mitt Romney. Neil Newhouse really
Nice.
is a pollster partner for the opinion, for the public
yeah,
opinion.
the details.
That's real.
The details are amazing. I just think as far as big of a Politico as I am, I usually know of celebrities, even the Scott Bayos of the world that get, big into politics, and, being that Romney was the presidential nominee in 2012, I that was my deciding factor. Is like, I think I might have just like somehow heard of this guy, or like, hey, Jake Ryan from 16 Candles is on the Romney camp. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like I would have, that's the only thing that kept me from buying in.
Fair
It was
enough, dude.
razor thin.
Well, you are ahead in our game now, so I got a lot of work to make up.
Yeah. So we
next
went true
podcast.
story last time. We both made up stories this time. So now there's no telling which direction we go next time.
Which direction we're going to go next. Nope. I think we both kind of figured we were both going to lie on it.
Mhm.
I should have called you out, but I knew he went in the music, so you threw me off there.
Yes. Let's go now to our dream project that we would like to see be made into a film project. It's the story of the Montreal hit job.
Yeah. Screw job.
Screw job. That's a whole different job.
Screw job.
Yes.
That's a whole
The
different
Montreal
job.
screw job. I will correct my notes so I don't refer to it incorrectly going forward. Tom, will you tell the audience, you touched on it before, give them a little more in-depth detail on what is the Montreal screw job?
Yes. So back in the day of wrestling, there was a thing called kayfabe, and that is what was the code of honor that what wrestlers did in order to promote that it was real. So much so that if you remember, Joe, Hacksaw Jim Duggan and the Iron Sheik,
Yes.
they were fired for breaking kayfabe back in the day.
Ooh.
They got busted riding together in a car, which was a no-no. You didn't have what were the faces of the good guys or the heels and the bad guys riding in the same vehicles. And they both wanted to get fucked up and stoned. So they drove together, got pulled over for reckless driving, and got arrested. And even the police officer was like, why are you guys riding in the same car if you hate each other?
That's amazing.
It was amazing, right? So yeah, they were both let go. So what was supposed to happen was there was a lot going on in this story. In the backstage, Bret the Hitman Hart and Shawn Michaels hated each other. Absolutely hated each other. Shawn Michaels ran with a group of other wrestlers that included Underhurst Helmsley, Kevin Nash, Razor Ramon, Scott Hall, and they were what was known as politicking in the back to kind of promote and get themselves up. And Bret Hart came from an old school wrestling family that was very much about keeping wrestling real. And so this really created this divide. So Bret Hart had a deal going on where he wanted more money. He was the champion. Hogan had made a shit ton of money. He left. Bret the Hitman Hart felt he was owed more money. And so he signed this 20-year deal with Vince McMahon to be on, and it was a multi-million-dollar deal. And then, as you know, wrestling dipped in the 90s. It became, no one was really into it, and WCW was on the rise. So Vince McMahon started making cuts, and he went to Bret the Hitman Hart and said, dude, I can't do this. Can we work on this deal? Can we do that? Bret the Hitman Hart being the guy he was like, yeah, sure. I don't want to drive the company under. And then money started to come back up. Hart went to negotiate. Vince McMahon said, nope, we renegotiate your contract, end of story. So WCW picks up Bret the Hitman Hart, and he's supposed to give up the belt. And the person that they want to have it is Shawn Michaels, and Bret Hart fucking refuses, says, I am not going to give that up. And he's scheduled to leave and be on the other wrestling program the next week. So they're in this position where they got to figure out how to get the belt off of them. So what they had agreed with everyone was that they were going to let Brett win. Brett would wait a week to go to the next wrestling program, retire the belt, and he could go over. However, in reality, Vince McMahon, Shawn Michaels, and a few other people in the know decided that they were going to have a particular position done during the match where it would be a submission hold, and Vince McMahon would run out, ring the bell, and Shawn Michaels would win without Brett knowing. And Brett was filming his documentary at the time, which is why this was such a big deal, called Wrestling in Shadows.
Mm-hmm.
And this is all in this documentary as well. Well, this happens, and everything blows up. Bret Hart ends up punching Vince McMahon.
Like really punching him behind the scenes, like in the locker room.
Behind the scenes, like in the locker room, punched him, grabbed a chunk of Shawn Michaels' hair. Bunch of wrestlers threatened to quit. The Undertaker broke down Vince McMahon's door to ask him what the fuck he was thinking doing this. And it gave birth to the villain Vince McMahon character.
Mm-hmm.
And it changed wrestling. And then when this all happened, Bret Hart in the world of kayfabe started going on national TV. We're talking CNN. He was on Larry King. He was going to anyone that would listen to him and say wrestling is fake. Mm-hmm. They fucked me out of my fake belt. And this wasn't supposed to happen. And it's still to this day a controversy and a question of, was it real or was it the ultimate swerve? Is this something that everyone was in on and this is just what they did?
Mm-hmm.
And it's to this day, it's considered the most controversial thing ever and probably the most talked about event in wrestling history. And actually, because of this event, brought wrestling out of the recession it was in.
Right. And this was, I believe, the first time the WWE, at that time it was still the WWF, right?
Correct.
The first time they broke that fourth wall too. I believe they had a interview with Vince McMahon the following Raw, Monday Night Raw?
The following Raw. The following Raw.
Where he basically talked shop as if, he kind of broke down the veil.
The kayfabe was gone because Bret Hart had gone everywhere and had talked about it. And Vince McMahon truly believed at the time that the fans and everyone were going to side with him and that he was going to come out the good guy, and he looked like a piece of shit in that interview. And that's what gave birth to the Vince McMahon evil character.
Wow. That sounds like an awesome film. That sounds awesome. I would watch that. I would watch it no matter who made it. The fun part is we now get to choose who that's going to be, and then we're going to get to choose who plays all these characters that you just mentioned.
Yes, and I was excited for this one.
Me too. I mean, I was a big wrestling fan in the mid to late 90s, right around this time. I will admit I really went with the WCW as far as my loyalty, because they just seemed to have more star power, more production value, because they had more money. Ted Turner was pumping money into that.
Ted Turner was pumping a shit ton of money, and around this time the NWO had started, and that really broke down the fourth wall of, again, there was always that confusion. Is it real? Is it not? And with WCW, they took real people's storylines of their real life and put in there. Like, for example, they made drunk Scott Hall. Scott Hall was known notoriously a problem, and they would play him as a drunk on air.
And they had Crow Sting, which was...
They had Crow Sting, which was awesome.
I saw that. I saw a Monday Nitro Live in Mankato, Minnesota, that had one of the first appearances of Crow Sting. And
in the rafters?
He descended from the rafters.
Yep. Came down on that fucking zip line.
It wasn't one of those cheap ass. He was just up in the rafters. Be like, oh, it's Sting. No, he actually came down on the stage. I don't remember what happened from there. I just remember that it was, the greatest thing ever.
Right.
Let's get to our picks. Let's do this. Right. I'm excited. I'm going to let you start. You told a great story there. You gave the audience a very good idea of what this entailed. I want to hear who's taking that vision and running with it.
I'm picking a guy again, this is contemporary. This is now from it today. Who's dabbled in this, and I think can tell the story of both in the ring and out of the ring, because he's done it before. Darren Aronofsky,
Ooh, the director of The Wrestler.
The director of The Wrestler. I'm keeping this in his wheelhouse.
Okay, I did think of him just because of The Wrestler. Interesting. I went in a very different direction. I went with...
Did you go Oliver Stone?
No, I did not go that far out. Although I would argue that he is more ideal for this movie than he is for Batman and Robin. That's just me. No, I did not go Oliver Stone. I went with a man named Armando Iannucci. Armando Iannucci is best known for being the creator. He is a director, but he is the creator of the HBO series Veep, starring Julia Louis-Dreyfus. Before that,
I see the vision you're going with there.
Before that, he is a film that kind of was. It wasn't in the same universe, but tonally was very similar. A lot of very acidic dialogue called In the Loop. Very politically, a political farce kind of thing. I could see him using that prototype or whatever you want to call it, and putting that on top of this and just making it, because wrestling is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's escapist, ridiculous entertainment, and I think you can make parallels to politics in a lot of ways. The ridiculous nature of it. So he would be my choice. It would be a dark comedy with some splashes of serious, but mostly meant to be absurd.
I can. All right. We'll talk about that when we get to our picks. All right. So we had picked. I think next was Bret Hart.
For sure, the Star.
The Star. Who is your Bret Hart?
It took me a while. It took me a while to find this guy, and once I found him, I was 1,000% in. I chose the Winter Soldier himself, Sebastian Stan.
Ooh, I can see that.
He's got the looks. He looks like Bret Hart. He's in obviously great shape. He's a fucking superhero. He is my choice. Sebastian Stan, the Winter Soldier.
All right.
Who did you choose, Tommy?
I chose someone else that I thought looked like Bret Hart.
Okay.
But also knowing Bret Hart, he's kind of especially seeing some of these interviews and things with him since, he's kind of whiny. And I wanted to have someone that could do the look and yet could give off that almost
kind of angsty.
Kind of angsty, but also in a way that's like what's the word I'm looking for? It's sympathetic. Adam Driver.
Ooh. Okay.
Adam Driver, because I immediately thought Kylo Ren looks like him and behaves in that way where he could go whiny, angry, back to normal. He's got a really good range.
Okay. Yep. We'll discuss.
We'll
discuss that later.
Yep.
Shawn Michaels. I'm very curious because this one I struggled with big time as well. I'm going to say I don't love my pick, but I want to hear who you pick first for Shawn Michaels.
So again, I went for looks, right? I looked for someone that could really look that facially could look the part, and hopefully they can build up or do what they need to do.
Pretty boy. Yeah, Bradley
Cooper.
Pretty boy Bradley Cooper.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. He could totally be sexy boy.
Yeah. Oh, it's sexy boy. That was his.
Yep. It was sexy boy.
Sexy boy.
That
Shawn
was his
Michaels.
thing.
Okay.
Sexy boy Bradley Cooper.
I also my choice is also pretty much just based on looks. I'll admit. I mean, he's kind of a vapid character, so that's kind of, he was just the good-looking guy. I guess it's fair to be so shallow.
Absolutely.
Zac Efron.
Yeah, I could see Zach.
Yeah.
I could see Zach playing that role as well. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm interested. Who's your Vince?
This one I like. I like my pick. I went with a guy that I think with the right subtle makeup, I think he's kind of got the hair. Benedict Cumberbatch.
Ooh, oh, you fucker! You pulled a Benedict Cumberbatch. You know
did.
I have a man crush on him,
Yeah, who doesn't?
dude. Yeah, I know. Fuck. I mean, if I was ever gonna question my sexuality, be in a room with Benedict Cumberbatch.
That voice, yeah.
I'm a bitch.
And I think, and they both
Yeah.
have very low registers. Vince McMahon obviously has a very distinct voice. Sounds nothing like Benedict Cumberbatch as far as like accent wise, but I mean Benedict Cumberbatch can find that accent, and he can. I think he
Absolutely.
can definitely nail it.
I went more again on looks and someone that can go from 0 to 100 and not hit Nick Cage status. And I think with the right makeup, he could do it. I went with Bryan Cranston.
Ooh.
Yeah, I went with
Walter
good old
White.
Blue.
Yeah.
Walter White as Vince McMahon. Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have a lot to discuss.
We're
on
gonna
this.
have a little bit to discuss on this. Okay.
So I want to preface this.
Yes,
by-
please do. Please do.
So involved in the Montreal Screwjob was the referee. His name was he was a twin, and the one that was in there was Earl Hebner, and he was central in this because even to the point of when they went out on stage, he did not know what he was going to do.
Right.
He did not know in the ring even. He was debating the whole time if he was going to do it or if he wasn't going to do what Vince McMahon wanted. In a role in a side character like this that's kind of goofy, that's kind of and I looked at my picks, and dude, if I could, this is a guy that I will cast as much as I can for my throwaway roles as they were. Clint fucking Howard.
Come on.
Yes. I will put Clint Howard in anything, you cocksucker.
Oh my God. Isn't
Clint Howard.
Okay. I'm just gonna take the victory on this one ahead of time. No, I will.
No, you're not.
I will say, with a character like this, yeah. I mean, the other ones looks matter somewhat. I mean, you can always do some, like I said, subtle makeup with the Vince McMahon pick, but Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, you want somebody that looks somewhat like them.
Yes.
Earl Hebner is nobody outside of wrestling fandom knows who Earl Hebner is.
No, and knows what he looks like.
You could go
right.
with anybody. I'm going with talent here, and somebody that I think could play a conflicted character like that. The always solid Paul Giamatti.
Okay. All right.
Always solid.
Not quite Clint Howard status.
Not quite.
I have a lot of respect for the Clint, but
Yeah,
all right.
A little bit higher on the alphabet list there.
All right.
So the final pick we're going to be doing here, or the final cast member, is going to be for Triple H. This is more Triple H at the time was what, like you had mentioned earlier, really, really tight with Shawn Michaels, and one of the few people that was in on this.
Was the only other wrestler that knew this was going on and helped convince Shawn that was the right thing.
Right.
To do.
So kind of I don't know what kind of comparison like role would you make? Kind of like the bad angel on the shoulder type of thing.
Yes. Absolutely. Yep.
So I picked somebody that we know can play a convincing bad guy, but is still compelling and still very, very watchable, and you still like him despite it all type of thing. I picked Alexander Skarsgård, who's best known for playing Eric Northman on True Blood. He's played many other roles. His brother Bill's Pennywise from the It movies.
Yep, you can't go wrong with a Skarsgård.
Skarsgårds are money in the bank as far as I'm concerned. He's talented. He's tall. Just needs to buff up a little bit more. And I think he'd do a very, very much a good service to the Triple H character.
So I picked someone that I think looks the part,
Okay.
doesn't have a whole lot to do with it, and has played a villain, and does very well in the villain roles. I picked Mr. Death himself, Sean Bean.
Sean Bean.
Yep. I picked Sean Bean.
Who I'm spacing who Sean Bean is again. You're gonna have to remind me.
No, oh, okay, no, that's fine. You probably don't know him except for Game of Thrones.
Oh, jeez, Ned. Oh,
Ned.
Ned Stark. Oh
Ned
my
Stark.
God! Wow, that was an embarrassing little moment right there.
That's all right. That's all right. You just know him as Ned. That's all he's ever.
Such an
and
embarrassing little brain burp right there.
You're fine, dude. He's been in
Sean
7
Bean.
episodes.
Sean Bean.
Sean Bean looks like fucking Triple H.
Yeah. I can see it.
Put long hair on him. He's already fucking built.
Yeah.
Put long hair on him. Yes.
Diet blondish. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
All right, let's go back and let's review our picks here and let's discuss this.
Okay.
Director.
Yep.
I had Armando Iannucci.
Yep.
And you remind everybody again?
I had Darren Aronofsky.
Darren Aronofsky. I don't know.
I'll tell you the one thing. I know why you picked the guy, because it's going to be kind of a dark comedy, things like that. And I kind of see where you're going with your pick. I picked it because, again, when I looked at The Wrestler and how it was done and how it was portrayed, I think he really gets it. And the comedy is going to come out in itself because the whole thing's kind of a ridiculous deal when you look at it. And I could see where you're going with as far as the storytelling in Veep. But in the same regards, I think that there'd be, in my movie, I see some build up to the heat of Brett and Sean in the ring, and I don't know how well he would do those scenes.
I didn't like The Wrestler.
Okay.
So that's where I'm struggling. I like Aronofsky. I've seen enough. I like Mother. I know a lot of people hated Mother. I really liked Mother. I know he's capable. But the one stab he's taken at a pro wrestling movie, I didn't like.
What do I ask what you didn't like about it?
It was dour. I mean, I understand what he was aiming for because it's a depressing sport. It really. I mean, you call it a sport.
It really is.
Sports entertainment, I guess, is more accurate, but it's depressing.
It's depressing. I mean, most of those guys are dead by the time they're in their 40s.
Yeah, or the traumatic brain injuries and just
traumatic brain injuries and constant surgeries and breaking of their bones. I mean, again, it's fake, but those guys are really jumping. Those guys are really doing shit.
It was more of a character study, and I don't know that for me, professional wrestlers, that's not really. I'm more. It's a spectacle. I expect more of a movie that is a spectacle in some sense. So I mean that it was just it could have been I was looking forward to it and I was let down. I think my expectations got too high on it. I think it's
no, and that's why I say this is why I think this is more of kind of that story. Because there's so many people here that just made the wrong call. I mean, when you really break it down, there's a comedy to it. But in my mind, there's a depression to it. Like everybody just made the wrong call at every turn that led to this incident.
I think we're going to probably stick with our own picks. I think is fair.
I can agree with that. I can agree with that. All right, so Bret Hart.
Sebastian Stan and Adam Driver.
Adam Driver.
Okay, here's the thing. Adam Driver, I don't when you say him and Bret Hart look like each other, I am not seeing it. Maybe I'm face blind or something, but Adam Driver has got extremely distinctive features. I don't see any similarity between him and Bret Hart.
I do, but I see a more similarity with your pick. Right, I do. And the other thing with Adam Driver why I wanted to do that was Bret Hart was very whiny during a lot of this.
Yes.
And so I kind of pictured Adam Driver being able to, I saw him kind of walk in the ring, have that arrogance, and then immediately behind the scenes get into that whiny character.
And not to belabor me taking a giant fucking shit on your pick here.
Sure.
But
by all means.
It's aside from distinctive looks of Adam Driver is the distinctive voice of Adam Driver, and it does not sound anything like Bret Hart's voice.
I will completely agree with. The voice is not there, and I don't know if he could do the voice, right? So I will concede to yours when it comes to Bret Hart.
Okay. I appreciate that. And I want to say I love Adam Driver. I would
Yes.
always encourage him to be picked, just not as Bret Hart.
No, I can agree with that. I can agree with that. Again, you make valid points.
Let's do Shawn. Let's do
Yeah.
sexy boy Shawn Michaels here.
So you got Zac
I do.
Efron, who I despise.
Sure.
I would never put him in anything. I've never understood the love of Zac Efron.
Okay.
And that's me. And Bradley Cooper, I think, has the body, the physique, and has the, Shawn Michaels was a prick, both in stage, out of stage, was all these things.
Mhm.
And I just think Bradley Cooper could nail the personality and the
Yeah,
look.
I think everything about your pick is better. Talent is better. I could say even like just general looks is better. My only worry is age. I believe
Mhm.
Bradley Cooper is a lot older than Shawn Michaels was when this all happened.
Sure. Yep.
But I don't love my pick. So I have no problem giving this one to you.
And the rules are, we talked about this, de-aging exists.
That's true.
They can
That's
de-age
true.
Bradley Cooper.
That's true. That's true. I don't think they would. I don't think it's really. I don't think Sebastian Stan, if he's who we're going with Bret Hart and Bradley Cooper, are that far apart. I think some minor makeup could a little pancake on there might
Little pancake.
little
on it could do
pancake
that.
might take care of some of
And
that.
you understand too that these weren't the built wrestlers, right? These
Right.
weren't the Hogans and the Macho Mans. These were, they had some abs, some muscles, but these weren't overly built.
No, they
dudes.
were the more the technicians, more the
Yes.
style wrestlers
Yep.
instead of just muscle men. So.
Yep.
Okay, let's so yeah, I got Brett, you got Sean. I think that's fair. Let's do Vince. I'm sorry, it's Benedict Cumberbatch, mic drop.
Well, yeah, no, anything that you pull Benedict Cumberbatch, I have to. I really like Cranston,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna go with Cumberbatch.
Yeah, and I don't
Damn it.
like going against Cranston, but in this role, I think Benedict Cumberbatch has just got that gravitas to just really.
He does. The only thing I will in defense of Cranston, because I'm gonna pick that, is Vince McMahon had that. Oh, you're listening to the WWF,
Mhm.
that voice, and then he had the and I could see Cranston doing that a little easier
Sure.
than Benedict. Benedict has a hard time pronouncing penguin, and I love that man.
Okay, but you're giving me that one.
If you don't know what we're talking about, look up. Just when you're done listening to the podcast, go to YouTube and look up Benedict Cumberbatch can't say penguins.
I did not know that was a thing until just right now.
Oh God, yeah. When we're done with this podcast, look that up.
That's I have to now.
Yeah,
So, but
It's
you're
brilliant.
giving me Benedict on this.
I'm giving
all
you
right.
Benedict.
Earl Hebner.
Are you gonna give me Clint Howard? Look. Clint
Yeah,
Howard.
you
Okay,
sell this
There's a
to
reason.
me, okay?
there's a big reason why I picked Clint
I
Howard.
need to hear it.
Number one, he's a short dude,
Mhm.
so everyone else is gonna look taller. He is fugly. He is fugly as sin, so everyone's gonna look better. I wanted him as a contrast in the ring,
Oh my god.
so that way you had him really good, and it just elevated
Oh my god.
the wrestlers and the people against Clint Howard, and it kind of plays off that whole you're a referee because you can't fucking wrestle because you're a Clint
Oh
Howard looking
my
motherfucker.
God. Oh my! That was the most backhanded compliment casting I've ever heard in my life. Wow, you're a fugly, short, fucking bastard. You're gonna make everybody look like fucking Brad Pitt.
Yep.
Oh, my God.
You are the catalyst of making these in-ring
You
works
know
because
You know what? My pick, by the way, is Paul Giamatti. I don't think we.
yep.
Out of complete sympathy for Clint Howard after what you just did to him, I'm going to go with your pick despite you, if that makes any sense.
Oh, I like that. Yes. No, he's a good choice. And also I picture him, he gets that blank look on his face
Mhm.
that he's really good at. And I know that sounds mean, but when he's supposed to be thinking about something or doing something, he has genuine confusion on his face. So that's his whole kind of thing is, what am I going to do? And I think he could act that very
You know
well.
what? Would this be like? Would we be doing a like Robert Forster in Jackie Brown thing here, like pulling Clint Howard out of obscurity and
Yes.
like bringing him back? And everybody's like, "Oh, I forgot about Clint Howard was a thing once."
Clint Howard. Yes. And he's still, and I actually like Clint Howard. Like I will go out of my way to watch a Clint Howard movie.
Hmm.
If I see he's in a movie, I'm like, well, Clint Howard's in it. I have to see it because he picks the worst movies.
Okay. I'm a little bit to spite you, but I am gonna give you. I'm gonna give it to Clint, not even to you. I'm gonna give it to Clint.
Yeah, no, give it to
I'm
Clint.
giving
He
it to
needs
Clint.
it. Give it to Clint. He needs work.
So I think we're pretty
Arrow
much
money.
tied up here. It really comes down to our Triple H's.
H's.
Oof,
Yep.
Okay, Alexander Skarsgård for me, and you yourself said you can't go wrong with the Skarsgård.
You can't go wrong with a Skarsgård, but Sean Bean is Triple H.
I almost feel like I have to give it to you because I, for a moment, couldn't remember who Sean Bean was.
I mean, think about that. Look at him in Game of Thrones and give him long hair. There is no question he's not.
Well,
Triple
a little
H.
older than Triple
Yeah.
H was at that time,
Sure.
probably by at least a decade and a half.
But the aging, I think you could do. 'Cause I mean, if you put a side by side of Triple H now and Sean Bean, you'd go, "Wow, that's someone that needs."
No,
to
I
play
mean,
Triple
just so
H.
we're clear, we can't be de-aging every movie we make. So
Absolutely not. No, absolutely
you've
not.
pulled
I know
out
what-
two de-agings in two
I pulled-
episodes
I
here,
pulled out-
so we're gonna.
Okay, I'll take that chastise here. Just
No,
soften
not
my
even a
hand.
chastise. I'm just saying, going forward, I'm going to really limit you playing the de-aging card. I'll allow it here. Yeah, I don't. Again, you know who I was thinking of? I was thinking of Michael Biehn from the original Terminator.
Oh yeah, Michael
I'm
Biehn.
like, God, how would
Yes.
he be Triple H? Like, nobody
No,
would cast him
no.
in anything anymore.
God no.
Oh.
He's doing voiceover.
Fuck, I was gonna say that'd be a great. Where is this? Where are they now? I'm gonna give
Yeah,
it to
no,
you.
I
I'm gonna give it to you. I'm gonna give it to you.
Mhm.
You have it. You have it. I'll give you Sean Bean as Triple H. I'm gonna let you win the Montreal Screwjob. I know how
Oh.
important it is to you because it's a wrestling thing.
Oh, you're gonna go there, really?
No, it was a tight match. It was a great. It
was
would
a
have
tight
made for a
match.
great rumble in the ring.
And I will say, I would watch just like our
Yeah.
Batman and Robins. I would watch your version.
Yeah,
of it.
I think we had two.
Because
Yeah.
did you see I Tanya
I did.
with Margot
I did.
Robbie? I like that dark comedy aspect of it, and that just totally kind of fits that
Mm,
that dark comedy.
I hated
biopic.
I, Tanya, to be honest with you.
Really?
Yeah,
I liked
I
it.
hated it. Well, that's another story for another day. But I appreciate. I know
Yes.
where you're going. Like the dark comedy, the biting dialog
Mhm.
Like that's. It would have been. You're right. It would have been interesting either way. But you win. Okay.
All
Take
right,
your
I'll take the
victory.
I'll take my
All right.
victory.
I think
I'll take
let's
it. I'll
let's
take
do
it.
one last ad here, and then we're gonna come back and
Wrap it
put
up.
a nice little bow on it. We will be back in 2 shakes of Earthquake. All right. Hey, Macho Van Horton.
Oh yeah,
I see you're keeping your body in great shape in your old age.
that's right, brother. Dig it.
Well, I got some news for you. Swole Bodies Gym in Santa Monica is now offering Sunday morning senior citizen shred sessions for all members 65 and older. Your body may be shriveling up like a massive prune, but that's no reason to say goodbye to your guns.
No one's gonna take the guns off my arms.
Classes start at 4 a.m., so you can shred before you pray. You'll be so proud when you hear your grandchild tell all his friends that my grandma can beat up your grandmas at the same time.
You'll be the top of the old lady home.
Instead of a bowl of soup and your stories, reclaim your glory.
Cream of the crop. Ooh, yeah.
Have your grandson help you log on to SwoleBodiesGym.netcom to get all the details. Swole Bodies Gym in Santa Monica, spelled with 2 E's and a Z, because fighting that flab is easy at Swole Bodies Gym, where gains get got.
We're in space, and space is the place.
Holy shit. Oh my god. Holy fuck. Tom, we made it through another episode.
And we did it longer this time.
Oh my god. That's what she said. No.
Hey.
Hey. No,
That's what you get for going to Swole Bodies.
it was so much fun.
That was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed our picks this time, and I am going to torture you with our next pick. I already have our next movie picked
Oh
out.
Jesus! This is. I'm learning about this as you're talking right now. I'm a little bit scared.
I'm going to throw down a gauntlet challenge on both you and I,
Oh,
sir.
boy. Like the Montreal screw job wasn't a gauntlet. Like that took me days to pick the right people. And I lost.
Well,
I lost even. I lost after it took days. Go ahead.
This is going to be a challenge to both you and me.
Okay.
So we're going to be on even ground on this one, I think,
All
buddy.
right.
We're going to pick a flop. That's one of my favorite movies of all time.
Okay.
Dune.
Okay.
You get to shit on David Lynch as a director, and I have to pick someone that's not David Lynch to do that movie.
Now they are making a new Dune, right?
They comes out later this year. It's one of the few movies I plan on actually going to the theater to see.
But we're recasting and revisioning the 84, I want to say.
84, I believe that was Dune 1984.
So we're coming at it from a 1984 perspective on what can we do in 1984 with Dune.
Yes, and that was a giant flop.
And you know what? I have seen it, but I am going to need to rewatch it in order to
My plan is working.
In order to accurately give submissions and have a fighting chance in hell to like challenge you on these. I'm sure you've been thinking about this.
Honestly, I have not.
Really?
This is a huge challenge to me because I love the actors that are in it.
Fucking Kyle MacLachlan, isn't he your favorite
Kyle
actor?
MacLachlan. Twin Peaks is my show. David Lynch is my director. So I feel like you have an advantage on this one because I have to battle my own instincts on it of what I love about it. And I also get the pleasure of making you watch a David Lynch film.
You know what the thing is, though, is that it's going to be our biggest challenge, not only for the reasons you laid out, but because we need to pick early 80s actors to play these roles, which, you know, we were tots, you know, when that movie was first released. That's not, you know, we didn't grow up on early 80s movies or the actors in them. We learned about them after the fact. So that's going to be a challenge in of itself. I can certainly see us having more Pink Power Ranger moments here where, you know, we're going to be giving each other options that we don't know who that is, but, you know, hopefully by qualifying.
And we'll have to really pare down because that's a huge cast.
So that's going to be our recast. Do we know yet what our original project is, or is that going to be a surprise for our listeners?
That one, no, that's going to be a surprise for the listeners. I figured I'll pick this one. Don't tell me what we're doing.
Okay.
Till we get closer. I figure I will let you pick our recast, and you can kind of play the bomb on me a little bit. Let me know a couple days ahead.
Not the
of time.
recast, but the original.
Oh, I'm sorry. The original, the contemporary project. Okay. And you can maybe even throw me a bomb, or if you know what you want to do, if you have something in mind, you could share that with the
audience. I have
no
no idea. I struggled so hard for my picks for this episode. I haven't had a chance to even think about.
Do you want me to pick it?
Yeah, I think what it was. I did pick Montreal Screwjob, I believe. I think that was the one that brought that up
You
originally.
did.
I
You
suppose
did.
fair is fair. Yeah, sure. If you wanna think of some. Now that being said, I do have, as you do, the option to veto if I'm like fucking no. Um,
Yes, of course you do. Of course you do.
but yeah, sure. Why don't you give it a stab and see what you think would work, and if it's something that I think is realistic, I will sign off on it, and we will go forward with those options.
All right, perfect. So we got a teaser for you guys, and we got something for you guys to come back to that you don't know
Yeah.
about. So there's no reason for you
The
not to come
known
back to
and
episode.
the unknown.
Oh yeah, space is the
Yeah.
place. Oh yeah.
Well, it's been fun. It's been real.
Mm,
As much real as fun, but it's been fun and real and a lot. But I had a great time. I think it was worth listening to. I
Yeah.
think people should listen to us every time we release a new podcast, and I think they should tell their friends, and they should like it, and they should share it. They should do all those things, because we
yeah,
could use it.
we should have done this at the beginning, but we're on YouTube, we're on
Mm-hmm.
SoundCloud, we have our own Facebook page now. There's lots of ways for you guys to follow and support us in ways, again, it doesn't take much to like, subscribe, and share.
No, and we're small enough yet that you can literally interact with us, and we will interact right back at you. And you can
Yeah.
give us for future episodes suggestions, and if they are suggestions that kind of strike our fancy, we will certainly consider doing them and give you credit for making said suggestion. Your name will be in a podcast listened by tens of people.
We love our tens of
Superstar.
people.
All right,
All right, we should wrap
we
this
should.
up,
Now
bro.
we're just rambling.
Yep. Cue the music. Get us the fuck
all right.
out of here.
We will be back when we are back in 2 weeks.
See
Yeah,
ya.
see you later. Bye.
Bye.